Today's podcast has been sponsored by Apricity. If you're trying to conceive, imagine a world where fertility care is free of stigma, full of support and tailored just for you. With Apricity Fertility, that world is closer than you think. Apricity's virtual fertility clinic makes care accessible and personal. From at-home diagnostic testing to virtual consultations and expert treatment like IVF and egg freezing, they're redefining fertility care. Plus, their success rates surpass the UK national average, giving you even more hope on your journey. With the Apricity app and your own personal advisor, you're supported every step of the way, 7 days a week. Apricity understands that building a family shouldn't mean putting your life on hold. Visit www.apricityfertility.com today. Apricity, fertility care for the modern woman.
Hi everyone, this week on Outspoken we have the amazing Jen Graham with us, otherwise known as Charity Shop Girl, and we've worked with Jen on some photo shoot projects, but she's actually here today to talk to us about some things that are going on in her personal life. Hi Jen, welcome to Outspoken.
Thank you very much for having me.
So I will this is a bit of a different format for us today. I will let you do a lot of the speaking today. But obviously we wanted to talk to you because you're going through the process of finding out whether you're going through perimenopause. So can you start by, how did you've obviously, I know that you've got it in your family. How did you sort of begin to think this might be happening to me?
I think personally, I know, so I'm 38, I'm 39 this year, but my mum went through the menopause when she was 35. So by the time she got to my age, she was already way through it, and started HRT then on the tablets. And obviously that was 30 years ago when it wasn't a great thing to go on the HRT tablets. You know, there was all bad press around and go on it. And so I do remember very vividly my mum going through it and the symptoms that she was having and the way that she was feeling. And then as I've got older and I've discussed things with her, things started triggering for me, thinking, oh, that's happening to me now, you know. And I suffer really bad with low moods around my time of the month, really, really bad. And I kind of, in the back of my mind, maybe knew that I was going to go through it quite early, because I know that I suffer with horrendous migraines and they're always worse around my time of the month.
Are they triggered by it, do you think? Are they linked to it?
Yeah, so I have two different types of migraines. I have cluster and I have hormonal. And the hormonal ones, I'd say, are the absolute worst. And when I realised that these headaches were around my time of the month, but then some of my triggers, my symptoms of a migraine coming is my mood would go really, really low, and I could be having the best day ever, like having the best time, and there'd be nothing wrong, but I would just feel really low and emotional and just down and couldn't pick myself up. And then the next day I'd come on my period and I'd be like, oh right, yeah. And then when I started having that relationship with myself of knowing that this is what's going to happen now, you're due on your period, this is quite normal. But then I was then recently having hot flushes that were not a hot flushes in, oh, I'm getting a bit hot, cool down. They're lasting like an hour of me just feeling really flustered and hot, and my moods were getting much, much lower. I'd say over the last year, they were getting really, really, I was really low, like 2 or 3 days before.
Was that having a big impact on you in your, because I know you've spoken previously about like the impact that a lot of your health conditions have had on you working and kind of your personal life. Was that having like a really bad impact on your life?
Oh, massively, because it affects I'm a very motivated person, but when I'm in a good place, and I'm a feeler, I feel every emotion, and every single emotion, I feel it deep into my bones. So the thing for me is when I'm happy, I'm so happy, but when I'm down, I'm down. You know, so when I'm having these moments, I've got no motivation to want to do anything. I just feel rubbish. I can't pick myself up. No, like I say, no matter how much of a good time I'm having, I just feel like rubbish. And then I started thinking, this is getting much worse as I'm getting older. So then started thinking about it, and then brain fog, terrible brain fog, around those times as well. And just sometimes, some days I just couldn't focus, and just my periods are much lighter now and a bit like all over the place, like not as long as they were, not lasting long, not as regular. So I actually contacted the GP.
How did the GP, because I, funnily enough, have been very similar to you. I'm 39 and I, it's not as severe as that, but my cycle is gone really light and it makes no sense. Some months it's 22 days, some months 35, and this is just as I've got older. How did the GP kind of react, and what were their kind of next steps? Did they take you seriously? Because you're very young for perimenopause.
Yeah. I'll be honest, they didn't take me very seriously until, I'll tell you. So when I first went, I was saying, I think that maybe I am going through the menopause or early stages or whatever. And she didn't take me seriously until I mentioned my mum, until I said about my mum. And as soon as I said that, she said, right, well, let's get you some tests done then. And I had the first test, and that came back to show the spike or something, that there was a spike to say, but they wanted to just do another one, which I had
last week. Waiting on the results. But I think from the sounds of it that this is happening to you, and that's what you're going through. And so how have you, obviously, what sort of have you put in place to kind of, obviously they're going to talk to you about treatments and what you can do, and there's a certain point at which you can go on HRT. What kind of support mechanisms have you put in to help you to go through the process? Because there's so many different symptoms to deal with.
Yeah, I think researching is important, but I think that researching on the right things, because I'm a terrible catastrophizer. If anything happens, I Google it, and I will literally search and search until I find the worst case scenario. I won't go for the best one. I go for the worst case scenario. But as I've got older, I've stopped doing that now. I go to reliable sources, whether that's the website, the likes of Davina McCall, I think Lisa Snowden, those type of people are talking. People are talking about it more. People are, it's becoming bigger, as in people are talking about it more, and people are using their platforms to talk about it. So I think it's about, educating yourself on it and finding out what's best for you, because I speak to lots of people who say, oh no, I wouldn't have HRT, I wouldn't go on that, I wouldn't do it, and that's fine, but I think you have to do what's best for you. I'm not against going on HRT. The GP said the last time when I went for the second set of tests that even if these come back and they're unsure, they'd happily start me on it because of my mum.
So they've already kind of said, yeah, we would definitely put you on. That's really good, because not everybody has that experience. And I think in a way, at least you have got your mum there before you to pave that way, because I think otherwise, like you said, I don't think they would have necessarily taken you seriously.
No. And I think, in all honesty, my mum wouldn't mind me talking about this either. My mum flies the flag big for HRT. She had to come off it recently because she had some other health problem, and she had to go to the doctor and say, I need to go back on it. She said it literally it makes it her life. She just loves it. She thinks that it's not a bad thing to go on it, and my mum says she couldn't live without it. She's so. I think something
you said earlier in our conversation is really the point of it. You said when you were getting your low moods, it didn't matter what was going on around you. Even if you were having the best day, your mood was low. But that's because it wasn't to do with what was happening to you or your experiences or the fun you were having or not having. It was because it was your hormones, and it's a physical thing that's happening to your body. So I think HRT is just replacing the job of estrogen, and there's so many other factors to that, like osteoporosis. And if you don't go on HRT, you're at far more risk of osteoporosis than you are if you don't want it. So I think it's important for people to understand that there are always risks to take everything, but actually the benefits here massively outweigh the risks of not doing it.
Yeah. And I think for me, it's about quality of life, isn't it? It's about, do I want to just deal with this, or do I want, if there's something that's available to help me, then, I'm going to take something that's going to help me. And that's what my mum says. It makes she feels great when she takes it, and she realizes how she doesn't feel great when she doesn't take it. So she knows that what it's doing is
Well,
it's
at least it's
actually
given her,
working.
coming off it for that period of time, has given her that clarity as well to understand that it's definitely the HRT that's helping me. How do you feel about going through this process? How does it make you feel about yourself? Because then I know I've spoken to people who feel quite sensitive about going through things early before they should, because it's all that piece about getting older as well. How does it kind of make you feel? Are you okay with it?
I'm actually okay with it. I'm not one that worries about getting old, or, you know, age thing just isn't, it doesn't bother me. If I'm going through it, I'm going through it, and I have to, you know, go through it. There's nothing I can do, no way around it. I think, if anything, I'd say that I'm a bit anxious about it, because I don't know. It's the unknown, isn't it? It's not knowing what's going to happen. And what worries me is the low moods that I have, that what if they get much worse? What if they last longer? I think that's the one thing that worries me more than anything, is how long is it going to last for? When is it going to be over? When will, I know people who have gone through the menopause and still had periods, still had problems with periods. It's that whole not knowing, isn't it? It's, I could be going through it for 5 years, but what's going to happen in those 5 years? What are the symptoms going to be? What's going to?
And I think as much as there's been a lot of awareness raised in the media, there's also been a lot of, difficult examples and cases of people who've obviously had the very extreme. And I think that kind of adds to that feeling of like what. But I think a lot of people go through it and it's okay. And, it's one of those things you go through and it's just a period of time. But I think I'm exactly like you, that the unknown is what stressed me out. And when you said about being a bit of a like Googler and a catastrophizer, I'm the same, because I need to know what's going to happen, what will happen. But in a scenario that like this is so individual, you don't know. And I think that's what builds that sense of anxiety. It's like, what is the next step going to be for me?
Yeah, and I think I also don't know how I'll feel until that doctor. Maybe when I go on HRT, I might feel different. I might think, oh my God, I'm 38 and I'm on HRT, but I don't feel like that now. I think I'm just trying to accept that if it's happening, it's happening. There's nothing I can do about it. And, I've got 3 beautiful children, healthy, thankfully children. I feel it's happening, isn't it? And there's nothing I can do about it. But it's the unknown that worries me.
I think it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, you've been through a lot of like health challenges as well. Do you sometimes feel like, you want a break in a way? Like, is something because I know you had the bakery, I live in Sandbach like you do, and you had to change and pivot into doing the charity shop, which has been an amazing success. But do you sometimes kind of feel a bit like, what's going to be next?
Yeah, I actually not like in a feel sorry for me kind of way, but I've not been very lucky with my health. And I'm not saying, I know that people have it much worse, and I know that people have it much worse, but I've had skin cancer, I've had migraines since I was 16. My migraines have been that bad at some points that I've had to leave jobs, that I've had to, I've not been able to go to one of my best friend's wedding because I had a migraine, and they're very debilitating. And now I'm on so much, I have inject myself in the leg once a month. I have really invasive occipital nerve blocks. I'm on medication that I take every night, and, and then if someone's ever got a cold in the house, I don't just get the cold. I get like it 10 times, and then it wipes me out, and then I get a cold sore, and then I get everything else off the back of it. So I did feel a little bit like when the HRT come, this is just, when the menopause came, this is just, I just feel like I don't get much luck with health, but I do know that people have it much worse. So I just try and think,
Well, you're very resilient as a person to go through all these things. I think you've been really honest. I think sometimes that's the key when you are going through things. I think talking about things is what saves me anyway. When things are happening to you, if it's just in your head by yourself, that's the damaging bit, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm a talker, and I'm probably an oversharer. I'm that girl that you meet in the toilets of a pub, and I'm like telling you my whole life story in there if we get on. I am a talker, and I do, share lots of things on my social media, whether that's a quote or whether that's a post about me saying, I'm not feeling great. But the amount of people that message me off the back of that and say, it's so refreshing to hear that you don't have great days. It's so refreshing that you feel like that you think like that, because I feel the same and you make me feel normal. I think that that's what it's about. It's about feeling normal, isn't it? And I am a talker, and I do feel better for talking about things.
Are you going to share this on? Are you planning to share this journey with people on your Instagram?
Yeah, 100% I will. And I'll do as soon as I get either whether that's if I get diagnosed fully or they just put me on HRT in the first place. I'm absolutely going to document someone at my age taking HRT and explain how I feel about it. And I'd also love to, squash rumours, of people, if there is like myths, of like, oh, that does that and that does that, to be able to show people that when they get to that point themselves, that's not true. That doesn't happen. The good side and the bad sides. I think that that's what the likes of like Davina McCall.
You should follow. Do you follow Menno Scandal on Instagram? They talk about this a lot. And they talk about how there's so much around now, so many myths about HRT and so much that's being written about, even up in the NHS about how like you just need CBT. And it's like, no, it's a physical problem. Yeah. You need a physical treatment for a physical problem. So I think there's a lot that we still need to say, and having positive role models like you out there saying actually it's absolutely acceptable for, first of all, someone who's young to be on HRT and to be on HRT if that's right for you.
Yeah, of course. Well, I think that goes for the same as like mental health. I've suffered before where, after I had skin cancer, I had a breakdown, like a nervous breakdown a little bit, because I didn't cope with it. I just went on the sunbeds. Then I found out I had skin cancer. I went to get a mole checked, didn't realise that was what was going to happen. It all happened so quick. Then I had the cake shop. The cake shop went really successful, and then I had to sell a cake shop because I was struggling mentally. And I straight away said, I want medication. I want the medication to help me. And the medication did help me. And I think that, it's the same in this situation, isn't it? It's a chemical imbalance. If you need that help, it's absolutely okay for you to take whatever way suits you. If you want to go down the natural route of CBD and herbal teas and, all those like lotions and potions or whatever that you think is going to help you, that's absolutely fine. But we also need to tell people that it's also fine to take the medication.
Or do both. Like there's a place for everything. You've got to look after yourself as well. That's the number one thing. I think it's giving yourself a break. Because I think in our lives and in our world, you're a mum, saying like it is endless, like the things you've got to do and how busy your life is. And I think sometimes it's about saying like I need to slow down a bit. Like there are certain points in my cycle. Like one of the other founders, Steph, always talks about this, that cyclical living. We have a 28-day cycle, and there are bits ups and downs in that cycle that are, we need to bear in mind as women. And I think we need to maybe set our lives up a little bit better so that when we are going through those bits we know are going to be difficult, we are giving ourselves more of a break. But that's not easy to do when you've got commitments and kids.
Yeah, and another symptom that I find around my time of the month is I get very overwhelmed very easily, and I never used to. I've only just started working out that is around my time of the month, but it could be that I'm cooking the dinner and my toddler will come in and say, "Oh, I need to go to the toilet," and then my son will come down, my older son, and he'll go, "Do you know where my PE kit is?" And then my daughter will come down and go, "I can't find my shampoo." And then I'm like, normally I'd go, "Your shampoo's there, your PE kit's there, let me take you to the toilet." But if it's my time of the month, it's almost like I'm going to burst into tears. Don't come to me with anything else. I feel like I can't cope. That's definitely got worse over the last couple of months, which I'm thinking is part of the perimenopause, because it's
for you, because you feel like you're not doing a good job. Like it's completely not your fault. It's part of the condition and what you're going through. But it's always, then you get that guilt, don't you? You think, I haven't handled that the way I want to handle it. I'm a bit like you. I have picked bits of my month where I'm like when I'm in the ovulation phase, I'm like, absolutely, yes, everything's good. I can do a million things all at once.
Yeah.
Like when I'm in I can't lie, I'm like you. Like if another person tells me something or asks me to do something, I am going to snap. Can't cope. And it's so strange how that happens and how in line with your cycle it is. But I guess it's again about saying that, isn't it? It's about saying, look, this is how I feel today. It'll be gone. But it's hard to tell your kids that.
Yeah. And I think that it's like you've just said, for me, that knock, because I am a feeler and I feel the feels, I'll go to bed and think, I was an awful mother today. I was so short. And Joni wanted to paint, and I just felt like I couldn't paint, whether because I had to put that wash away, and everything was just, I can't cope. And then for days afterwards, I'll think, I was awful today. I feel awful. And I'll say to the kids sometimes, I'm sorry about that yesterday. I just felt like it was just too much.
That's the thing to do though, because I'm like you, very much like you, like I will get the guilt really bad, but I try to talk to my kids about it. I try to say to them, I'm really sorry, I didn't handle that well, I'm having a bad day for X, Y, and Z reasons. Because I think then, first of all, you're raising kids that are more sympathetic, especially if you've got boys as well, to make them more understanding of what it's like. Because boys are just a completely different, their cycle like a day, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's very different for them. They replenish so quickly. I definitely see that with 2 boys as well. Oh my God, they just have endless energy. I'm like, why can't you just go to bed?
I'm a big believer in what you just said there about, teaching them. I tell them I'm having a bad day. I'm having a rubbish day today. This has happened, so you're gonna have to bear with me, because I think I always wanted to teach my kids to have empathy as well, like being resilient and knowing that these things happen in life. So for my older boy, you might get married to someone who goes through the same thing. My daughter's gonna go through this. You know what I mean? But also showing them that I do carry on, but I do have days, and you're going to have days when you're older, when you feel like this is overwhelming, I can't cope, this is too much. But then they'll go, but I remember my mum used to do that. It's so important that I want to teach those things now, exactly like you've just said. And I'm very vocal with the kids about how I'm feeling. Oh, I've got a migraine. Oh, I'm not having a great day. Oh, you'll have to help me with that because I'm struggling today. And I think that all is good parenting.
It's really good parenting. I think that's a really good place to leave it. I'm really grateful for you to come on and talk to us today, and it's very personal for you, but you, as you said, you are a talker, so I'm looking forward to you kind of sharing your story. I already follow you on Instagram, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing you talk about HRT. I'll be there with you because I think it's important conversation. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.